We got a special guest today, plus a man that just wants to win for this city so badly.
You are Locked On Lions, your daily Detroit Lions podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
It's a Thursday edition, everybody, of Locked On Lions right here on the Locked On Podcast Network. Matt Derry with you on a Thursday, May 16th and a Friday, May 17th. Thanks for making us your first listen and checking us out wherever you get your podcast. Shout out to our everydayers who are out there, like my man Evil Genius on Twitter and everybody else that hits us up each and every day right here on the program. We appreciate you. Thanks for checking us out and subscribing for free. It's easy. Just hit that subscribe button and subscribe for free on our Locked On Lions YouTube channel. Also, don't forget, Locked On Detroit Sports on YouTube. Brand new network, brand new show with Jake Riepma, who hosts all the postcasts. Jake is going to join us today, and we'll get a little introduction here on Locked On Lions to Jake so that all of you know who he is. Does a great job with those postcasts. Every Tiger game, Red Wing game, Pistons and Lions. He'll be on live on YouTube and Locked On Detroit Sports. So check Jake out. We're going to get him on the program today. Locked On Lions today, brought to you by Gametime. You want tickets? Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Follow us on Twitter at Derry Speaks, at Locked On Lions, and of course also on the Matt Derry Facebook fan page. Jared Goff spoke today. What did he have to say? We'll get into that. I have more thoughts on the Lions schedule as I've had a few more hours to kind of soak it all in. What did Howard Stern used to always say on his show? Let me soak you in. We soaked in some of the schedule. I've got some more thoughts on that, and then we'll talk to Jake coming up momentarily here on the program. But first things first, the Lions, of course, have signed Jared Goff to that brand spanking new 4-year contract where he's going to get paid $53 million a year, become the second highest paid quarterback in the league, highest paid Lion ever. And he spoke today for the first time since getting the new deal. As the team had a rookie minicamp, they're going to have OTAs coming up next week, but Goff is in town, is here. And he said something interesting, and a bunch of people have sent me this, but two things that stand out. Number one, when it came down to the contract itself, the money, everything else, Jared Goff said the biggest thing that really he wanted was a no trade clause. He does not want to leave. He loves it here. And yes, it's important to get paid handsomely. Yes, I'm sure. He wants to be on a winning team, and that's what the Lions are right now. Get it through your skulls, folks. We got ourselves a winner here. But really wanted a no trade clause so that he could finish his career here. Now he's 29 now. By the time this contract ends, he'll be 35. The other thing he said was about Detroit. I'm going to read this quote. This is from Colton Pouncey, covers the Lions for The Athletic. Quote, "This city just means so much to me and will hold a special place in my heart forever. I want to win for them. I want to win for these fans." Matthew Stafford loved the fans and wanted to win for Detroit. And Lion fans, for the most part, embrace Stafford. Not everybody embraces Goff. All right. Not everybody. There's still those Hendon Hooker stands out there and slappies. But man, Jared Goff is genuine. He loves it here. This is the place that gave him his second chance. This is the place where now his name is being chanted at Little League games, at high school games, at hockey games, at volleyball tournaments, all across this state. Amon-Ra St. Brown at the draft got on the stage and started screaming, Jared Goff. Right? That never happened for Stafford. Fans love Stafford. Don't get me wrong. He was here a long time, 10, 11 years? But the embracing of Goff, the fact that he fits the mold of what Detroit's all about. Detroit's been stomped on. Detroit's been, shoved away. The Rams shoved Jared Goff out of town. He was the throw-in from the Stafford deal. The Lions were getting all these first-round picks from LA. They were getting draft capital out the wazoo and everything else. Oh, and by the way, you can take our quarterback that we don't want anymore. And all he's done since he's been here is won football games for this franchise. A winning record 2 years ago in year 2 of the rebuild. And last year, he won 2 playoff games. as your starting quarterback. That's 2 more than Matthew Stafford won here in double-digit years. I don't want to turn this into Goff or Stafford, but my point is it's genuine. He loves it here. He's dying to win for you. And to ask for a no-trade clause, to make sure that was in the contract so he could finish his career here. The amount of effort he's put into to getting into the community here. His fiance, very active around town. And you can just tell they've embraced Detroit. And he's here now. All right. Off-season workouts are not going on. It was rookie mini camp last week, and that's it. He's here now. He's working with guys. They're running routes, throwing balls around. I mean, it's awesome. And it's something that you got to have a quarterback in this league, and you got to have a guy that wants to be here and embraces it. And he does. And I love that. I thought what he said today was really, 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 really cool. As far as the schedule goes, we're going to get Jake Riepma's thoughts in a minute and introduce you to the newest Locked On host here. Couple other notes for me that I really didn't hit on yesterday. In case you missed everything that we talked about, check out yesterday's show, last night's show, right here on Locked On Lions. But couple of things about the schedule that I thought was interesting. Number one, 2 outdoor games in December. Never easy. Now, again, the second one is in San Francisco, where the weather should be fine, but that game on the 22nd in Chicago is going to be freezing. And last year, that was Goff's worst game. September to me could be. You hope for 3-1. You want to be 4-0, but it could be 4-0. Rams at home, Bucks at home, at the Cardinals, who are bad. Now, again, well coached, but still bad. And Seattle. And I think the Lions have some payback for the Seahawks for every single time. It seems like every year they come in here and beat the Lions. I like this idea of 3 of the first 4 at home, because that Ford Field right now and the way this fan base is acting for this team, which you should, is going to be pretty sweet. So I'm excited about that. First NFC North game doesn't take place until week 7, October the 20th at Minnesota. Do you like that? What are your thoughts on that? First division game, not until 7 games in. Rams, Bucks, Cards, Seahawks, bye week, Cowboys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for the 6th game, 7th week, you're not going to see a division opponent until then with Minnesota. Lions are going to play the Packers until November and December. They're not going to play the Bears until Thanksgiving and December. I guess it heats up toward the end, and we'll see what happens, but I find that kind of interesting, staying on the division that early. How many of the games would the Lions be favored in on this schedule? Again, Rams, Bucks, Cards, Seahawks, Cowboys, Vikings, Titans, Packers, Texans, Jags, Colts, Bears, Packers, Bills, Bears, Niners, Vikings to end the season at home. I looked at it. I would assume the Lions would be favored in 14 of the 17 games. Won't be favored at Dallas, October 13th at 4:25. Won't be favored at Green Bay, at Lambeau on November 3rd at 4:25. If the Packers are as good as they're supposed to be, they'll be favored in that game. At San Francisco, week 17, I would assume they'll be underdogs playing the Niners on Monday Night Football. Buffalo is a possibility. If the Bills are really good, that's a home game, 4:25. I still think the Lions would be favored in that game. But every other game I look at, I see the Lions being favored outside of at Dallas, at Green Bay. Well, maybe, at Houston. At Houston for Sunday Night Football, Lions might be an underdog too. So I'd say 13 of the 17 for sure the Lions would be favored in. At Indianapolis will be interesting because the Colts are good. That's a good team. And they nearly made the playoffs last year. Young team, but a good team. Well coached with Shane Steichen. And if Anthony Richardson's as advertised and that Colts team is playing well, that could be a game too that the Lions could be underdogs in. All right. We'll have more on this tomorrow too, certainly, and keep you posted on any news that comes out when it comes to the schedule. Jake Riepma going to join us from Locked On Detroit Sports. What is that? We're going to explain that to you coming up next, right here on Locked On Lions on this a Thursday show. And Locked On Lions today brought to you by Gametime. Killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee. There's no better place to get tickets than Gametime. It takes the guesswork out of buying NFL tickets. Release schedule is here. We know it. We love it. We're talking about it. You want opening night tickets for Lions Rams? I'm looking at the secondary market right now. I'm seeing good prices on the Gametime app. You can get them right now. Go to Gametime, type in Detroit Lions. You'll see tickets available right now for Lions, Rams, right there on the Gametime app. You want to go to the Thanksgiving Day game against the Bears. What about Thursday night, Amazon Prime Packers? What about Monday night, Seattle? So many great opportunities to get tickets, and you can get them right there on the Gametime app. Last minute tickets, flash deals, zone deals, it's all there. And I love that view from your seat in any venue, anytime. You can see exactly where you're sitting. Move right, move left, right there on the app and scroll. It is awesome. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDON NFL for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, as promised, joining us today here on Locked On Lions, the man now tasked with doing shows after games on the Locked On Detroit YouTube page and wherever you get your podcasts. It's the Postcast host. Jake Riepma is with us, newest member of the Locked On team and starting up Locked On Detroit. Jake, great to see you.
Yeah, Matt, fired up to be with you. And it's nice to actually be at my desk talking with someone, having a normal conversation instead of screaming into the microphone post-game with my blood pressure boiling. But, we've got a lot of good things on the horizon. It's an exciting time and an exciting time to launch Locked On Sports Detroit. And it's going to be a lot of fun. I've already had a blast with it during the Tigers baseball season. So if we can do that, we can do just about anything.
All right, so take me back. How did this come about? I know that other markets have done this, but now with these postcasts, like you said, Locked On Sports Detroit, how did all this come about?
Yeah, so I think it's to take it real high level from the beginning and then kind of narrow it down. Locked On's next goal and kind of a company-wide initiative is to be the one-stop shop landing spot for post-game reaction and instant live reaction because, as you know, I know there's certain emotions, there's certain feelings that you really can't replicate in an on-demand format when a game ends and you've got everything you want to say right on your mind. And that's kind of the spirit behind the Locked On podcast or postcast method of, hey, the game ended, let's hop on and talk about it. And I think my background in sports talk radio, my time with the Ticket is kind of serves a way to really utilize that skill set, really utilize that platform. And hey, we've got a lot to say. Let's make it interactive. Let's make it a lot of fun. Let's have Locked On Postcast be your one-stop shop for exactly that post-game reaction, live reaction, and let's have some fun doing it. So I'm fired up for the initiative. I'm fired up for the opportunity with Locked On, and there's a lot of exciting things in the works here that we're going to put into fruition.
Well, I caught some of your show the other day. You're coming on after these Tigers Marlins games. It's like, that's a no-brainer. I mean, these are layups for you right now, Jake. Enjoy them while you can. But like, what's that been like lately? 19 innings without scoring a run against the Marlins. That's easy button for you, right?
Yeah. It's kind of funny. Like we always say, content is king. So I'm watching the end of that, the second time they're about to be shut out by the worst pitching staff in baseball. And part of me is like, let's just get this over with and end this game so we can get on and talk about just the horrific offense that was shut out in 19 innings against the worst pitching staff in baseball. But I think it's a great way to really it really personifies what these postcasts are going to be all about, because there are certain things that you just can't plan for that are going to happen, between the white lines in the course of a game, whether it be on the baseball diamond, on the hardwood, or of course, we're talking Locked On Lions now on the gridiron, that it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about. So right now with the Tigers, we were joking before we hopped on here that sometimes they make my job easy, but maybe for the wrong reason, because I'm not even able to believe or fathom what's happening on the diamond. But it all goes back to that instant reaction of what we're really passionate about, supporting our teams, commiserating, commemorating, whatever it may be, and having that lively discussion immediately at the conclusion of a game. So I know I sound like a broken record, but man, I am fired up. And I think it's a brilliant initiative from Locked On as a company to launch this. And I believe it's in 12 different markets in which there's going to be a postcast presence, because, hey, there are a lot of content options out there right now, and we want to be the one-stop shop for all of your post-game reaction, analysis, opinions. And part of what makes this business so fun is connecting with all of the listeners out there on exactly what is going down as far as the instant reaction from a live post-game sense.
Jake Riepma with us, host of Locked On Detroit Sports. Again, find it on YouTube. All right, so game ends. How does everybody find you, and what's your protocol? How long you go, and give me the whole rundown.
Yeah, I should have this memorized by now, right? You can subscribe; doesn't cost you anything. So we'll be on YouTube. And then the neat thing about it is, if everybody's got a life, so if you miss the live show, all of our shows will then be put on the corresponding audio platforms where you can get the audio only version. And then everybody knows how to YouTube now. And I sound like a 60-year-old man that half the time on my shows, because I say, do the YouTube thing. So you can do the YouTube thing and catch it on demand as well. So if you miss the live show, obviously then you lose out on some of the live comments and reactions, but you can always get the audio only version on whatever corresponding platform it is, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, everything else, wherever you get your current Locked On content. Our Locked On Detroit Sports Postcast will be there as well. And then we have launched our own YouTube channel. So I know you subscribe. We got a lot of subscribers on Locked On Lions here. So go ahead and smash that sub button on Locked On Sports Detroit as well. And I love what the graphics team did at Locked On. You can appreciate this as well, because we had a lot of options for an entire Locked On Detroit banner type of thing, but they went with the Honolulu blue and silver. So if you see the Locked On Sports Detroit and the Honolulu blue and silver, you're in the right spot.
Well, it's the only winning team you could talk about, Jake. I mean, I'm hitting on one. You got all four.
Yeah.
And right now that's the deal. I've been asked too. People say, well, wait a minute. What about you after games? My situation's not going to change, but you're going to just be on faster than me, which is great. You should be. I mean, games end on Sunday for me, especially when I'm home. I want to put my quick short out on YouTube. I want to make sure I'm looking at the numbers. I want to hear a little bit about what Campbell and Goff and everybody is saying before I get my thoughts together. But you're going to be on for Lions games right after the game ends, right?
Precisely. That's a perfect way to put it, Matt. Right. And already with Locked On Tigers, we've kind of had that, two-pronged approach to it where, Scott Bentley, who does a great job with Locked On Tigers, will give you your day-to-day Monday through Friday. And then if you want to get on and join me live and, like I said, yell, scream, cheer, whatever it is in that instant reaction, we've got that option for you as well. And then, like always, the Locked On way, you can kind of customize it as far as your schedule allows, because we do have the on-demand shows available for download and available to stream as well. So it really is a win-win-win in all aspects.
You mentioned before, it's a couple of ticket alums here talking, but you were at 97.1. I know some fans will remember your voice, but how'd you get started there? And I guess you made a trip to Dallas before you came home, huh?
No doubt. Exactly. So it's as you know, this industry, this business can just be a whirlwind. So I'll try not to ramble on and on and on, but played a little college football at Northwood University for everybody in Michigan there. D2, I always say D2 warrior, played some special teams, got my head bashed in a little bit. Knew if I wanted to stay around the game in any capacity, it would certainly be talking about the game and not playing. All of my college coaches told me if I could play half as good as I could run my mouth, there might be a spot for me on the team. But, after that, I went on to Northwestern, got my master's there in their sports journalism program, spent a little time in the Windy City, worked for the Bulls for a little bit, did some work with Big Ten Network, found my way back to Detroit, where I was at the Ticket for 6 years, doing everything from overnight board opping to producing to update anchoring to network hosting. Did some Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons pregame, a little bit of time on the Lions postgame through some of those very difficult Quintricia years. Our buddy Jeff Rieger had a lot to say about that. He and I suffered through some of those game shows together. But I think in all seriousness, it really developed kind of the fundamental skill set to be able to be successful in this business. And then, like you said, moved out to Dallas for a cool opportunity with the Amazon Alexa brand, doing some NFL content, and now found my way to Locked On. So I know it's coming through, but I'll say it one more time, fired up to be with Locked On Sports, fired up to talk about Detroit sports in a post-game capacity, because like you said with the Lions, man, we've got a lot of really exciting things in the works and a lot of things to look forward to. And in my lifetime, and probably your lifetime, we're close enough in age, like it's never been this way before. So what a time to, start this venture that I'm really fired up and appreciative for the opportunity to do so.
Well, you're a young guy, so I appreciate that. You have no idea how old I am. Jake Riepma is with us. I want to ask about the Lions schedule. That's the news of the day. And of course, Jared Goff talked, which we got into before we talked to Jake. We'll do that with him coming up next. But first, Locked On Lions today brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. It is winner take all in the NBA and NHL. And FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Player props for this NBA playoffs right now is so popular. Seriously, you don't even have to bet on the games or winning or losing. Just hone in on one guy. Tonight, Nikola Jokic, whatever his player props are, you want to get in on that, you can do so at FanDuel. And also, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. So visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel.com/lockedon. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. The host of Locked On Detroit Sports, team on the Postcast, Jake Riepma, is with us today, finding out a little bit more about him, and certainly going to plug and promote him as much as we can. We love this, as he said, two-pronged attack on Locked On. All right, Jake, the schedule came out. You did your Tigers show yesterday, but thoughts on what the schedule looks like for the Lions? There's some moments it looks easy. There's some moments it looks tough, but what stood out for you?
I think, before we even dive into all this, it's so refreshing to take a look at a schedule and probably, again, for the first time in my life, you start chalking in some W's next to some games, and you aren't crazy in doing that. And that's in its simplest form, that's really, really refreshing. The other thing that stood out to me right away, Matt, and you'll probably agree with this as well, is that bye week comes so early.
Way too early.
And I'm not going to, come unglued about it, because I think, it is just one of those necessary evils. Everybody has a bye week, but unfortunate timing there, because I think a lot of people have made the point that how physical the Lions play, the type of football they play, the brand of physicality that they bring. And it's also, it's an 18-week schedule in the NFL. So to have that bye week, after just 4 games, that stood out to me right away. The primetime games are exciting. They're fun. It's relatively new. It used to be just, all right, who we playing on Thanksgiving? That's the only time everybody's going to watch us. And, you get it started with Sunday Night Football with Matthew Stafford and the Rams. And that already gets my blood going here in the month of May. And we've got a long ways to wait until that first game, but exciting. The bye week right away jumps out. And, the NFC North, a lot of people have talked about it as a division to have your eye on. The Bears, a giant question mark. And obviously with the transformation that Minnesota will be undergoing, new man under center, there's a lot of questions. And I'll close it with this, Matt, and you can kick me off the stream if this is what happens. But I also have never been schedule guy that looked at the schedule and said, let's go by this one by one. That's a win, that's a loss. Yeah. So.
Well, I mean, what do you think? I mean, are you looking at it saying 10 wins, 12? I don't think they're going to win 12 games. This schedule is more difficult than last year. I mean, you mentioned gimmies. I mean, last year, you knew they were going to beat Carolina. You knew they were going to beat the Raiders. You knew they were going to beat the Chargers. And that was a close game. But there's not a lot of gimmies on this schedule. This is a first-place schedule.
No doubt about it. And I think that's it's if Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and the entire organization for that matter, if they've instilled anything in us as fans and people that cover the team, and obviously more importantly, the players, it's the willingness to take on the challenge and embrace being the hunted instead of the team that's been at the bottom of the division for so many years, year in and year out. So this team is not sneaking up on anybody. I also think that's exciting, and I don't think Dan Campbell or Brad Holmes would have it any other way. Now, the other thing I'll throw at you, Matt, and maybe again kick me off the stream if that's what this type of take deserves, but there's so many teams that are going to underachieve, overachieve, and everything in between, that looking at a schedule in the month of May too, I know it's the news of the day, but how much do we really know? Probably not much.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's just, the fact that there are only 6 1:00 games, and then 3 years ago every game was at 1:00 is pretty remarkable. All right, final thing, Jared Goff spoke today and kind of said, look, it wasn't about the money and it wasn't about years. It was all about the no trade clause. He wants to finish his career here. And somebody that grew up here, I mean, this is wild to hear all these guys wanting to stay. It's a testament to ownership, really, and the culture of the organization, isn't it?
Right. At the risk of sounding like Lion Slappy or fanboy, this is something, honestly, even when Dan Campbell started to feel like things were turning around in that 500 season with the win over the Packers at the end of the year. Like, you felt like things were in motion, but to elevate it to this level, to where guys are really doing anything they can to finish out their career here. And then even additionally with guys wanting to come here, it's unique. It's new. I feel like Ricky Bobby when he's being interviewed. I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know exactly how to take it, but I'm here for it, type of thing. And I remember being on the ticket. One of the last shows I did before I moved with the opportunity with Amazon was Jared Goff could cement his legacy as the most beloved Lions quarterback. And you know how the ticket is. You get callers saying, you
right,
that and the other. And I really believed it approaching last season that things were in place for him to be the most beloved player this town has seen in a long, long time. And again, for every good take or correct take, I'm going to have 3 or 4 bad ones. So this is not me patting myself on the back, but we've got fans chanting his name at Red Wings games. We've got, at the draft, and there is no more proof needed that Jared Goff is the guy in Detroit. And again, I'm here for it, and I'm excited about it.
Jake Riepma is the host of the Postcast on the Locked On Detroit Sports YouTube page, wherever you get your podcasts. After every Tiger game, Wings, Pistons, and Lions, Jake will be there, and check out all of his work. We love having him on the team. Jake, great to see you. Thanks for coming on today.
Matt, appreciate you so much. Thanks for having me on, and look forward to that 2-prong attack we've got going here.
We will do it. You'll be back on this show whenever you want. Jake Riepma with us. Check him out. Please subscribe on the Locked On Detroit Sports YouTube page. We're back again tomorrow.